That song like crazy when it came out on the radio, and really excited to have her here. This guy, the journey so far, many, many years of making great music, and we're so thankful to have her. Please say hello to Loreena McKennitt!
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you. The journey so far.
Yes, yes.
I mean, does it feel like a lot of years? Because when you start to put together a compilation and you think about it in the context of several decades, it sounds like a lot, but does it feel like a lot?
Well, you know, I feel that so much of the time one has their head down, just looking at one step in front of the next, and it is only at times like this or projects like this one turns around and says, where have I come from, and what have I done, or who have I seen, and what have I accomplished or not, you know? So it's really more in that context.
And what have I become is always, I think, an interesting question for people to explore.
Well, yes, I always wanted to be a veterinarian, so I never dreamed about being a singer.
Well, you grew up essentially around livestock in Manitoba on a farm.
Yes, Morden, Manitoba.
Right next to Winkler, Manitoba,
yes,
right? Which
yes.
And so yes, I understand. You were around a lot of animals. That would probably do it.
My father was a livestock dealer, and so certainly part of my life was spent at the farm doing chores. But I always, as I mentioned, I always dreamed about being a veterinarian, and I went into the University of Manitoba and took agriculture for 3 short months before music took me by the scruff of the neck.
What happened? Because even after 3 months, once you paid for the education, why do you get out?
Well, there were various performing opportunities that arose, and I knew that I would always wonder what I would do in a career of music. So I became infatuated with Celtic music.
And you travel the world to find out? Did you follow the paths of this kind of music?
I used that pan-Celtic history as my creative springboard, but I felt it wasn't sufficient to simply stay at home and study books. I really felt it was integral to travel to those places and at different times of the year and see the light in the sky and meet musicians. And that approach has really afforded me some extraordinary experiences.
You're talking about all different parts of the world in multiple generations. It goes back for multiple generations when this music, started and how it resonated with people. Have you learned common themes about humanity? Have you picked up on a thread?
Without question, people the world over have a desire to have their own identity, and they have a strong sense of their identity, and they really like to be able to share that with other people and feel that there's an equal access kind of opportunity rather than having it delivered from the West or North America. So it is, and it does boil down to people also who just have simple desires to be loved and to exert their own self-determination.
It's amazing that you can use music for that, right?
Yes, it's extraordinary.
When you were a kid, did you think that could have been part of the scenario?
Not at all. And I think as I've grown older, I've appreciated what an extraordinary medium music actually is. And I actually become quite concerned about how music appears to have declined in its presence either in schools or just informally in society.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, I think there's a lot of challenges on people's time and they've become, I think a lot of the connection technologies has refocused people's attention.
Is that your way of saying that we get stuck on a phone and we just play apps, we don't listen to records anymore?
Well, I do. I think there's some very persuasive research that is coming out that shows that it is changing the brain, and music is also being understood in terms of the multiple dividends that you can experience by being engaged in it.
Well, you played Sean Parker's wedding, and he was one of the founders of
Yes,
Napster.
yes,
did you
yes.
give him did you kick him in the knees, or did you praise him?
I did not. He's on.
He started Napster with Sean Fanning.
No, I know. I felt that wasn't the occasion. I felt the wedding wasn't the occasion to go.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, McKenna played she broke my knee. I don't know what happened.
Yes, no, it was a pretty amazing experience.
I want to go back to an early day. Take a look at this early. It's like almost like a contest in a way, but look at this.
I know my alphabet. You think I don't know nothing? I don't need to be taught like a child.
Say not. Say it, Miss Doolittle. You will understand presently. Do as he says. and let him teach you in his own way.
Oh, well, if you put it like that.
Oh, dear.
I, bay, say, day.
Stop!
All right, that's amazing. So you're doing My Fair Lady, or Pygmalion, if you will. You're doing Pygmalion, or My Fair Lady, but tell me what the hell that is.
Oh, well, that was part of a 1978 Search for Talent competition that CBC and Du Maurier conducted, and I became one of the finalists, and this was part of that whole competition. It was actually my very first trip to Toronto. And it was quite a big event to come from Winnipeg and stay at the Chelsea Inn.
Let's go to the Junos for 1 second. An important moment in your life.
She left the web, she left the room. She made 3 paces through the room. She saw the water lily bloom. She saw the helmet and the plume. She looked out to Camelot.
Junos in 1992, right?
Yes.
What's going through your mind when you're on stage there?
Well, my father had passed away a week before, and you know, I knew that he had hoped to have lived. He had died of cancer, and I know he had hoped to have lived long enough to see this event. And of course, I mean, that song is very loaded emotionally, anyways. So I just remember fighting to keep my composure. But it was a great event, that Juno performance. Yeah, it was good. But
when one struggles with composure and for such legitimate reasons, what is the process by which you deal with it? Like, how are you managing?
well, you know, you do mental gymnastics. I mean, you tell yourself bad jokes if you have to.
Do you remember one?
No, no. But it is an exercise of fortitude where you just stay focused. And most of the time, I'll just steer myself back to the lyrics of the song and just immerse yourself in that and don't get lost in the here and now. And usually that delivers hopefully an authentic performance.
It was a pleasure to see you. Thanks for coming in.
And wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. The record show, The Journey so far, the best of Loreena McKennitt. We'll be right back.